Hey YouTube, welcome back to my recap of Transfer Love Season 4. I'm here with chat on Twitch and we're just gonna pick up where we left off. So where we left off, there was a new guy introduced, right? So a new person, which was very unexpected, was introduced into the house because at that point it was like, what, 12 people? I think he's the 13th, if I'm remembering this correctly, or something like that. But anyways, now it's uneven. There's one more guy than there is girls. So it's like not even anymore between the guys and the girls. So the newest guy who joined, he's a dermatologist. He's 33 years old. He was born in 1992. And his name is Shin Seung-young. So Seung-young is his first name. And bro's here. Everybody's like, wow, what's going on? And for his first date, he asks out Yoon-young. So remember, we already have a different doctor in the house. So we have a dermatologist and we have a Korean traditional medicine doctor, two doctors in the house, which is really interesting. Immediately as soon as the show starts, we already have our first set of problems. All right. So as you guys remember from the last episode, Jiyeon was walking around wearing Wongyu's t-shirt, which she received from him while he was drunk. So just like recapping that, he was drunk. Yoon-young was in Yushik and Wongyu's room, and she was like, oh, I'm gonna take a shirt, ha ha ha. And then Jiyeon was like, oh, give me a shirt, give me a shirt. And then he was like, oh, I guess there's a shirt that I think would look good on you. And then he gives her one of his shirts. And she wore it around everywhere. She wore it to the ex room. She's wearing it. She's been wearing it all day. And so Jihyun, Wongyu's ex, notices that she's still wearing the shirt. Everyone is like sitting in the living room and like everybody's eating. She's eating ramen specifically. And Jiyeon is like, oh, I better be careful to not get the shirt dirty because it's a special shirt. She specifically emphasizes that it's an important shirt. And Jihyun's looking at her from across the room and she's like, is that Wongyu's shirt? Like she just asked her directly in front of everybody. There's like 6 people in this room right now. And Jiyeon's like, oh no, it's my shirt. And in the interview, she's like, well, I lied because I felt like in that situation, like my ex was there too. So Woojin was sitting like right across the room from her. And obviously Jiyeon was there. So she was like, my ex was there. And I'm sure that Wongyu's ex was probably there to admit to everybody in that, like admit in front of everyone that it was his shirt would be kind of too much. So I just decided to lie. And I was like, okay, so if it's something that you have to lie about, why are you wearing it everywhere in the first place? I think it's crazy that she went out of her way to wear another man's shirt around the house and then she can't even own up to it. So she knows what she's doing is not exactly right. Jiyeon, I want to defend you so bad, Jiyeon. I want to be on your side. But if you know what you're doing is not good, then why are we doing it? This is going to lead into a different conversation later. So anyways, Jihyun, Wongyu's ex, is obviously pissed about this situation. And she goes downstairs to do her laundry. And then Wongyu follows her downstairs, whatever. And then Jihyun turns to him and she's like, did you give that t-shirt to Jiyeon? Like, did you give your t-shirt to Jiyeon? And he's like, okay. And this is where Wongyu is a coward. He's like, I mean, listen, Yoon-young came in and was asking for Yushik's shirt and like this, since the other girl was asking for that guy's shirt and I was drunk and I didn't really know what I was doing. And basically Jiyeon stole it from me. That's what he says. He doesn't say he gave it to her, which he did do. Remember, like in the room, he was like, oh, I guess there is a shirt that would look good on you. He did say that to her before he got up, brought her to the closet, and then picked out a shirt for her. But like now that he's talking to his ex, he's like, actually, she stole it. Like, yes, you were drunk. You were not exactly in your like right state of mind, but also you did kind of let her take it. And then the next day when you were sober, he texted her at night. Like he chose her for the nightly text. And he told Jiyeon, hey, the shirt you took from me, it looks good on you. He told her that. He told her the shirt looks good on her. And now behind her back, we're saying that she stole the t-shirt. Listen, she's not doing the right thing by walking around with the t-shirt, but I think this is way worse. He could not stand on business and say that he gave the t-shirt, he did a bad thing. That exactly from Jiyeon's perspective, like what she did wasn't great either, but like from her perspective, she thinks that he's like interested in her enough to give him a shirt. But behind her back, he don't give a fuck about her. He's too busy trying to get back together with his ex, and he's not even doing a good job. And Jihyun hears him say this, and she's like, well, now I'm mad. And she's like, oh, I guess I was the only one staying still doing nothing. I should be trying to seduce some guys too. And he's like, what are you talking about? You never stayed still. You've been taking the most action in the house. And then they go into the laundry room, and like the laundry is turning, it's hella loud. And so like they start getting more mad. And she's like, if I wore a different guy's t-shirt and I walked around with it, would you like it? And he's like, no, I would feel bad. And he was like, no, listen, like, I wasn't trying to give her the shirt. The vibe in the room at the time felt like I had to give it to her. I felt like I couldn't say no. This bitch, and she was like, so you think I should accept going on a date with you, knowing you have given your shirt away to a different girl? Don't forget, the other day, he asked her out and was like, let's go on a date. And he's been bothering her about wanting to go on a date. But in Jihyun's mind, she's like, okay, you gave your shirt away to a different girl, but then you asked me out on a date. That doesn't make any sense. He just admits being a people-pleasing sheep then? No, that's exactly what I'm saying. So all we learned from this situation is that he can't say no. Remember when in the X room, when they talked about like why they broke up, they talked about that it was because he had a female best friend of 10 years who asked him to go shopping for her wedding dress with her. And he was like, yeah. And then they thought about it because Jihyun was like, I don't feel comfortable watching you go shopping for another girl's wedding dress. Like when, she has somebody that she's going to get married to. I don't care if there's going to be other people there. I don't feel comfortable having you do that. And it's like, it seems like this is a consistent problem when it comes to women in his life. Like he can't say no. He like feels bad or whatever. Like he's not capable. And so it's like really weird. And so once again, it's like, from this conversation, we learned that it's not because he liked Jihyun that he gave her the shirt. He just felt like he had to give her the shirt because she asked for it. No, bitch, you can say no. Boundaries exist. You can say you don't feel comfortable giving her the shirt. And she would have been like, oh, okay. She might have been secretly hurt inside, but like she would have accepted it. Oh, no wonder Jihyun doesn't want to date you. I can just imagine what this relationship was like. And then he was like, oh, she's always restricting me. She never lets me do this. She never lets me do that. Bro, she never lets you do anything because you let people do whatever you want to you. You don't say no. And she was like, so why should I accept going on a date with you when you have given your shirt away to a different girl? And she continues and she says, don't you think you should date Jihyun instead, considering you gave your shirt to her? You're kind of weird for that. And she's like, listen up, ask for the t-shirt back. Only if you get the t-shirt back will I go on a date with you. Bro! And then Wongi starts freaking out. He's like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. I feel like it's so rude. It's so mean to ask for it back when I gave it to her. And she's like, okay, then we won't go on a date. You want me to consider it? Get it back. I'm leaving. And then she goes upstairs. What a fucking legend. What a fucking legend, bro. The way I was cheering. This scene went platinum in my room. I felt such catharsis hearing her say that to him. And I love Jihyun so much because she doesn't take any bullshit. If she doesn't think anything is gonna get better, she won't settle for less. She will go on her own way. Like, I love her for that. So now that we've seen a girl who knows how to stand up to her ex, unfortunately, we have to suffer through a girl who doesn't know how to stand up to her ex. This is the saddest scene of the whole show. So Mingyung, she is the girl who is starting to realize she's super hung up on her ex and she doesn't want to get with someone else. She's realizing like, I want to get back with my ex or whatever. And so she knocks on the door, she enters, and as soon as she enters, she like sits on the floor and she starts crying. He did at least give her a chair and he was like, oh, sit on the chair. And he gave her some tissues. But then he becomes an asshole. So don't worry. Like his good manners end like exactly there. She's like, even when somebody expresses themselves to me, I can't develop feelings for them because my standards are too high. Because my standard is you. Oh my God, your standards are in the ground. Yo, you must be joking right now. And she's like, I didn't know you were such a good person. And she asked him like, who are you texting? Like, who are you interested in? And he just refuses to answer. He's like, I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know. Like, with the most like disinterested expression. He fully does not care that she's crying. And she's like, I need to hear your answer so I can decide whether I should move on or try to get back together with you or like do anything. And Yushika's like, my desire to get back together has definitely decreased. And she's like, okay, what happened for that to happen? And he's like, I went to the X room and I saw everything you said and it confirmed that you came here to move on. And Mingyung is like, but you abandoned me. And he's like, what do you mean? Does working hard mean that I threw you away? And she's like, in your life, I'm the only thing you can throw away. And he's like, why are you saying it like that? And she's like, I think we have to change a lot, like the both of us, regardless of what we choose to do. And he's like, why? For the purpose of getting back together? And she's like, to get back together, that's obvious that we would have to change and improve ourselves in some way. And he's like, so are you saying you want to get back together right now? And she's like, I just wanted to talk with you and understand where you're at. So can I ask you who you're interested in? And he's like, I won't answer. And she's like, so you won't tell me anything? And he's like, but why should I tell you anything? And she's like, but why can't you tell me anything? The way they go back and forth about this for so long is insane. And she's like, considering we've dated for 8 years, you should care about me, even if it's just a little bit. And he's like, do you think I don't care about you? And she's like, yeah, you don't pay attention to me at all. That's why you're chilling and you're vibing here. She continues and she's like, whether we get back together or not, if there's a misunderstanding, we should clear it up. And he's like, what misunderstanding? And she's like, that we broke up because of you. And he's like, that's not a misunderstanding. I do think we broke up because of me. And she's like, so you know you did me wrong. So why are you acting like this? And he's like, we're not even dating anymore. Why do I have to act like I have to care about you and watch myself around you even after we've broken up? Oh. He's like, you didn't even come in here wanting to get back together. So why do I have to watch out for you? And then she continues and she's like, why do you think I came in here with zero intent to get back together? And he just says, you didn't. And she's like, did you ask me? And he's like, you didn't. I just know that you didn't. I know that you didn't. It doesn't matter how many times she says, like, but you could ask me. Did you ask me? He just continues going, you didn't, you didn't, you didn't, like shutting her down. And she's like, how do you know that for sure? And he's like, I saw it in the X room today. Notice how he keeps going. I saw it in the X room. I saw it through other things, but she's right here in front of you. Just ask her. If she didn't want to get back together, would she be in here crying and saying my standard is you? Why are we're saying the same thing over and over again? But it's like, can we think critically for a second? Clearly that can't be the case. Whatever you've assumed cannot be true because she's in here. She's in this room having this conversation with you right now. What? Oh my God. And she's like, okay, that's interesting. And he's like, you came out to meet someone new, and now you're saying after checking everyone else out, I'm the best out of all of them. Because of that reason alone, I should start to have feelings for you again? That doesn't make any sense. And she's like, okay, what do you want to do from now on? And he's like, I'm going to go where my heart desires. And she's like, oh, so you don't think of me even a little. And he's like, of course I think of you. How could I not think of you? That's why it was hard for me to open up to others at first. And then she says, I made you. I made you into the person you are today. I built you and you adapted to me in every single way. And now you're acting like this. And he's like, how could you say it like that? Am I a robot? Like, what do you mean? Like, you made me? And she was like, I'm sorry if it came out badly. And then she continues and she says, even though I came in here thinking I had zero leftover feelings, I think I had a hidden wish that you would make an effort to approach me. And he's like, even though you came in here with no feelings to reunite, you expected me to come and approach you. And she's like, I thought you would do that, obviously. At least the person that I dated would have done that. And then she continues and she goes, so can I conclude that you have someone else you like and that you have zero feelings for me? Is that correct? And he's like, if someone shows interest in me, couldn't I be thankful for that? And she's just like, answer my question. And he's like, yeah, you can think that way. And then she goes, you're really terrible. And then she brings up this misunderstanding. She was like, oh, but like in the past, like like a week ago or whatever, didn't you buy pancake mix for me? And he was like, what are you talking about? I never bought pancake mix. And she was like, when you and like other people went shopping, you guys came back with pancake mix. And I thought you bought that for me. And he was like, no, I didn't buy the pancake mix. But like she saw that pancake mix and she put a ton of meaning into it, thinking that like, oh, he was thinking of me and he bought it for me because I like pancakes or whatever. And she's like, oh, so I misunderstood everything. You had zero feelings for me from the start. So you made me into an idiot. And he was like, what do you mean I made you look like an idiot? And he's like, you know what? I'm done. Go upstairs. And she's like, but I want to talk more. And he's like, is there something specific you want to hear me say? And she's like, in the X room, I want to hear you say that you felt hurt seeing our past memories and that you were shaken. Oh. He was like, I was hurt while seeing it, but I wasn't shaken. I just went in there to see what you were thinking. But no, I don't feel like my feelings were shaken towards reunion. And she was like, so when you looked at everything, you didn't think about all the things you couldn't do for me? And he's like, I worked hard while dating you. And I don't think that there were things I didn't do for you. I think I tried my best while dating you. And she was like, okay, then what about when we broke up? And he was like, I don't want to talk anymore. Like, even if we talk, nothing will change. We'll keep repeating the same shit. Like, I don't want to talk anymore. And she's like, you know what? You suck. And then she gets up and while crying, she's like, just live the rest of your life while feeling painful and apologetic feelings towards me then. And she closes the door, like she slams the door behind her. And then that's how that ends. Okay, there is so much to unpack here. First of all, I just want to say I feel extremely sorry for Mingyung. I feel really bad for her, and I know hearing this conversation, especially towards the end, it makes her look bad. But I want us all to remember the context in which this conversation is happening. For 9 days, she has been trying to talk to this man. Remember, they dated for 9 years, 8 years, whatever. They dated for a really fucking long time. She's been trying to talk to him for 9 days. Ask him, what is he thinking? What is he feeling? And all he does is avoid. He won't talk to her. He won't answer her questions. He won't tell her, like, what direction she should go in the house. And it's clear that she needs that. He keeps trying to put the onus on her. Every time he talks about what he's thinking, all he ever does is he says, you never wanted to get back together. You're the one who broke up with me first. But who's the one who made her break up in the first place? Who's the one who refused to go out with her when you went on trips? Who's the one who always slept when they went on dates? Who's the one who kept on saying, I'm not going to marry you, even though she was saying, I'm kind of interested in marriage, and he refused to make any promises? Who led her into this situation in the first place? She basically comes into this room fully, essentially begging on her knees, throwing away all of her pride to grovel to this man. And he still won't give her a direct answer. Just tell her you don't like her anymore. Like, if you do this one thing, she will be miserable, but she can move on. He doesn't directly say anything. He talks around everything. And so she is incapable of moving forward. She can't, because in her mind, there's still like maybe some potential for them to get back together. At this point, she is so hung up on him and she is so incapable of seeing anybody else. And all she does is cry every single day, feeling like she lost like the love of her life or whatever. But you didn't lose, like, he left you already. Do you understand? Emotionally, he left this relationship around the 7-year mark. And he basically just stopped trying towards the end. So you would break up with him. You did it. He's free. He's like, hallelujah, I can go, swim in the water. The water filled with all the other fish. Then you guys go on the show. He's swimming in the water. You never actually wanted to swim in the water. You wanted him to stay in the lake with you. This is a terrible metaphor. What? The reason she went and she said, let's break up, was to make him fight for the relationship. But he was already at the point where he didn't want to fight for the relationship. Do you understand? He's been checked out of this relationship for so long. That's why he doesn't care. That's why he doesn't go up to her when she's crying. It's why he is so able to be chill and happy when he goes on dates and he can move on. He's already moved on. She hasn't. She's never moved on, even when she said that she moved on. But what bothers me about Yushik is that he tries to blame her for him not wanting to get back together. Do you understand? He puts the onus on her instead of just being truthful and saying, actually, I don't have feelings for you anymore. And this is like a consistent thing that he does. He gaslights her. This is the real gaslighter. This man is gaslighter number one. He gaslights her into saying, oh, you said you were moving on, so I'm moving on too. But that's not what happened. You moved on already, but you don't want to be the bad guy. So you make her break up and then you say, oh, because you moved on, I moved on too. Like, there's nothing wrong about wanting to move on first. But what's wrong is you lying about it. That's why you're a fucking gaslighter. So I understand that, like, this situation, her saying, oh, I made you and you adapted to me, and her being like upset and kind of mad at him essentially for not wanting to get back together. I get that, like, if you look at this on a surface level, it makes her look like the bad guy. But if you look at it within the context of their relationship, you can see that she's kind of been slowly pushed into this position where it has to be her groveling for their relationship when he has already moved on. And he doesn't make it clear that he's moved on. He makes it seem like that if they work hard, they could get back together. He doesn't tell her that there's absolutely no way. He's not like Jiyeon. This is one way that Jiyeon is good. She tells her ex, we are not getting back together. I don't want you. It's never going to happen. She is very, very clear. She doesn't confuse him. But Yushik confuses her. Most importantly, he gaslights her into making her think she is at fault when it's not her fault that things fell apart. That's what's bad about Yushik. I hate this man. Like, even in the pre-meeting in the cafe, what was it? When they were talking, she was like, oh, when my birthday passed, why didn't you call me? And he was like, oh, how could I call you? Well, I have no right to call you. And she's like, what do you mean? That's an excuse. We dated for 8 years. The least you could do is call me. Do you see what I mean? Even that, like the way she speaks, it shows that she has leftover feelings, that she still has this desire to get back together. But he makes an excuse saying, I have no right, when the real reason is, I just didn't want to call you because we broke up and I'm not interested in getting back together. He just makes up other reasons instead of telling the truth. That's why I fucking hate this man. So we go back after Mingyung leaves. We go back to the living room. So Wongyu goes to the living room. Jiyeon is still wearing his t-shirt. Okay. And he's basically like, hey, do you remember last night when, you got the t-shirt? Like, low-key, I don't really remember what happened. This is actually what he says. He's like, low-key, like, what happened? Like, what did we say back then? Back then, literally, I don't know, 6-7 hours ago, because it happened at like 2 a.m. What did we say earlier about the t-shirt? And she's like, oh, Yoonyoung and Yushik were there, and she asked for a t-shirt. And, I was like also being like, oh, do you have something that would suit me? And you were like, oh, there's something that would suit you. And I was like, oh, could you give me a t-shirt too? Could you maybe, or whatever? And he's like, oh, yeah. Oh. And then he goes like, I mean, I was like drunk, so I don't really remember like what happened. And she's like, oh. And he's like, yeah, like I just kind of know that like you took it. Oh. And she's like, no, like, you gave it to me. And it's so crazy. He was like, oh, is that what happened? And he's like, the other day I actually wore that. I like didn't wash it or anything. I wore it to like the talking room. And she was like, oh, you didn't wash it and you gave it to me? And he's like, yeah. So I was thinking like that was kind of whatever, but like also because like I wore it literally the other day, I was thinking that like my ex could see the shirt and realize like it was my shirt. And I was just thinking like maybe it would make my ex feel bad. And she was like, wait, you're right. And then she goes, yeah, if I was your ex, I would be really fucking pissed. So that his ex would be pissed. That if you were in that situation, you would hate it and you wore the shirt around like that anyways. Come on, girl. We can think, come on, let's use some brain cells. Are we serious right now? And then he's like, yeah, so I was just like thinking like maybe people would be uncomfortable and it would be kind of weird. And he basically talks around this whole situation for a minute, and she's realizing essentially that he's asking for it back. But he never specifically says, like, give it back to me. He's just kind of like, yeah, maybe be better if, like, you didn't have it. You know what I mean? Like, he's really passive with how he asks for it back. And she's basically like, okay, I understand. Like, I'll wash it and then I'll give it back to you. And then he, like, hits himself with a pillow. You see there's a pillow to, like, his left. And he hits himself with the pillow and he's like, oh, I was so stupid. And she's like, it's okay. I understand. It makes sense. Like, don't worry. I'll give it back to you. And he's like, okay, well, that's all I wanted to talk about. And then he gets up and he leaves. You guys have been texting each other for a week. And, like, literally he doesn't talk to her about anything about them at all. Not about a date or anything. He just tells her to return the shirt, essentially, and then he goes. So this is exactly what I mean. He's not interested in Jiyeon. He just wants to get back together with his ex, but he doesn't know how to say no. So whenever Jiyeon asks him out on a date, he just goes along with it. And then Jiyeon is misunderstanding fairly that he's interested in her too, that he likes her at least a little bit as much as she likes him. But he just want to get back with his ex. Even when he comes to you, it's for the purpose of placating his ex. Like, he don't give a fuck about you. And so Jiyeon goes upstairs and she takes off the shirt. And then in the interview, like, she cries and she says, I understand that, like, why he did that and that the ex could be upset or whatever. But even still, like, the fact that he asked for it back, it did make me sad. Like, I did feel hurt. And I understand why she feels hurt, because he's giving her signals that maybe I like you back, but he doesn't like her back. She's just a distraction. He's just kind of hanging out with her until it's time to get serious about getting back with his ex. He's just not capable of saying no. So she's, like, coming on to him strongly, and he just accepts it. And if he doesn't learn to say no, Jihyun's not going to take you back, bro. Like, that's just what it is. He needs to figure out how to set boundaries and clarify, like, these are my feelings, or else we're going to be in big problems. Anyways, guys, there's not much to talk about here. Listen, they go on a yacht. Yoonyoung and Seungyoung, they go on a yacht. All right. It's fine. It's cute. But Yoonyoung don't care about this man. And I think he went on the date with her and he didn't feel like any real romantic feelings. This is not going to happen. We don't care. So Jiyeon comes down in the living room and Yushik and Wonggyu are in the living room, and Yushik steps away and Wonggyu is on his phone, right? And he's like, oh, I'm looking for clothes to buy. And Jiyeon's like, oh, should I help you choose something? Like, he says, yeah, like, actively. He's like, sure, help me choose something. And she sits next to him and they're discussing it. And she's like, oh, do you want to go on a shopping date? And Wongyu's like, Wonggyu does not want to go on this date. But once again, he doesn't know how to say no. So then he sees Yushik coming and he uses him as an excuse. And he's like, oh my God, Yushik, do you want to go shopping? The three of us? Like, do you want to go help me pick out some clothes? Because I want to buy some stuff. And Yushik is like, no, I'm not going to be a third wheel on your, like, date. And he's like, no, we're just looking for clothes. Like, it's not like that. And Yushik's like, bye, I'm out. And then in the end, Jiyeon is like, so are we going? And he's like, sure. And so they essentially go on a date. It's a shopping date. But he is going around being like, oh, it's not like that. But it's you and the girl who you've been texting back and forth. It is like that. If it's not like that, tell her you don't want to go out shopping. This is what I'm talking about. He doesn't set boundaries. By the way, this is definitely going to cause an issue later because you went out of your way to get the t-shirt back. You are telling Jihyun, oh, it's not like that. She stole it from me. I'm not like actively trying to go for her or whatever. I'm trying to talk to you more. But then you are going on a date with her. Like, his actions and his words don't match up. It's like he talks to Jihyun about wanting to go on a date, but then he messages Jihyun that his t-shirt looks good on her. But then he tells Jihyun that she stole the shirt. But then he goes out with Jihyun on a date. What is it that you want? Oh, the aneurysm I'm about to have, bro. Also, Yushik and Hyunji go on a date. Whatever. Oh, wait. And also, what is it? On the two of them on their way out, Woojin sees them. Woojin is Jiyeon's ex, remember? And he is basically like, I'm jealous. And that's not surprising because Woojin also hasn't moved on. It doesn't matter that she tells him all the time, like, I don't want to get back together. I don't want to get back together. He wants to get back together and he can't change his mind, then he's not going to move on. So I've already accepted that. Yushik and Hyunji go on a date. As you guys all know, I hate him. I'm not her biggest fan either because low-key she be like gaslighting Baekhyun and shit. These two are toxic, and I'm not gonna lie, I mostly skipped this part. I fully don't know really well what they did on their date, and I don't care. We move on. All right, so then the only reason I'm showing this is because Jihyun was at home with Sunyoung, the new guy, remember? And they're like cooking meat or whatever. And she's been talking to him. She's like, we like the same books. We have the same sense of humor. He has like a slightly different personality from me, but we still have enough in common that we like have good chemistry. And she's basically like, I want to go on a date with you sometime. And he's like, yes, let's do that. So this is just showing that Jihyun is going in a different direction away from Jaehyung. Mingyung's crying upstairs and Jihyun is like, oh, what's wrong? I can tell that you're having a hard time. She gives her like a hug and she's like, just talk to me. Like, let's talk about what's going on. And she's like, I just think my standards are too high. Like, I just can't get myself to feel anything for anyone here. Like, no matter who I date here, I just end up thinking about my ex. And Jihyun is like, that's understandable. Are you going to try to get back together with him? And she's like, I just think that I don't know, but I just feel like I'm leaning more that way. And she's like, listen, like, if you guys are going to get back together, like, something needs to really change before you get back together. And very specifically, she says, don't do something stupid like choosing your ex just because you don't like anyone here. A relationship that has broken once is apt to break again easily. And I was like, what a legend. That's a queen who knows who she is. She knows her worth. So like Jihyun and Mingyung are so interesting to compare each other to because Jihyun very clearly sets boundaries with her ex and she doesn't grovel to him. She knows who she is and she knows what she wants. And she is very firm in that if something doesn't change, I will not get back together. Or if I'm not shown any proof that things are going to be different, I'm not going to get back together. She has a level of self-respect that I feel like Mingyung doesn't have for herself. Mingyung literally went in there and groveled to the world's biggest gaslighter of all time. She is so sad. Like, you guys will see it later because I have the picture of it, but like a vein in her eye ruptured. She cried so much. And everyone in the house is like, you should probably go see a doctor. Guess who's the only person who didn't show concern for her? Like, if that doesn't tell you everything you need to know, I don't know what will. Okay. Anyways, so you can see it here a little bit. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see there's like a redness in the corner of her eye. And like, that's why everyone's been saying like, you need to go to a doctor. You need to go to a doctor. It's so sad. So anyways, an envelope arrives to the house and the envelope is like, guys, guess what? You're going to Japan for 2 weeks. Everyone's like, wow. And the girls have to pick who they want to go with to Japan. And if the guy accepts, then the two of them will go together as a date. But you can't pick your ex. So I will just quickly say who got matched up. So Baekhyun Yoonyoung got matched up. Jihyun Sunyoung got matched up. Jiyeon Wongyu got matched up. So even though Wongyu hurt Jiyeon's feelings, she still messaged him. She still likes him, like, whatever. And then Woojin, Jihyun, and Mingyung are going together because they didn't get matched up. Mingyung very specifically texted the new guy because she was like, I know he won't choose me. And I don't want to confuse Yushik anymore. Like, I'm going to try to show him that I want to get back together. No, don't show him that you want to get back together. He doesn't care about you. And it's just really sad and depressing. And Woojin is like, so Woojin says something very specific in the interview where he's like, oh, back when we were dating, Jiyeon and I were both like, oh, we want to do a overseas trip together. We want to do an overseas trip together. And to the point that we promised to do an overseas trip together. And we were like, even if we break up, we should do an overseas trip together. We made that promise. And now she's going overseas with someone else. I know that she can't choose me, but it still makes me kind of sad. Like, I'm like her and I feel like she forgot our promise. One, she can't choose you anyways. But two, she said she doesn't want, it doesn't matter if you said that when you were dating. Everybody says, oh, even if we break up, we should still be friends. You don't know what's going to happen when you break up, bro. Let it go. She don't want to get back together with you. Holy. We're going to talk about nightly messages. I think it's the 9th day. I honestly don't remember if it's the 9th day or the 10th day anymore. I'm just saying that I think it's day 9, maybe. It could also be day 10. I'm not sure. We're only going to talk about the messages people sent to their ex because for the first time today, we have like we have 4 people who texted their exes. So Wongyu texts Jihyun and he says, drink more coffee. Jihyun is upset because he didn't text her. And I'm like, you should have figured out that he wasn't going to text you after he asked for his shirt back. Like, whatever. Mingyun texts Yushik. She's like, I'm going to be more honest. He doesn't want you to be more honest. He's over you. You need to move on. Woojin texts Jihyun and he's like, let's talk on the 4th floor later. Bro, stop talking to her. No matter how much you talk, nothing will change. And then one more person gets a text. Hyunji. And it says, your ex has chosen you in the text. Remember, Hyunji's ex is Baekhyun. So you're like, Baekhyun? But Baekhyun always chooses Yoonyoung. No. The new guy texts Hyunji. Hyunji has 2 exes in the house. There are 2 men in the house and they both used to date Hyunji. What? I can't believe. The fuck? That's right, you guys. One woman has 2 exes in the house. They both used to date her. It's the animal kingdom. A moment of silence for Baekhyun. Do you remember in episode 10, Hyunji was at Baekhyun and she was like, why are you always, you're so active with the other girls and like, why? She basically said all this stuff. She like snuggled in his head. Do you remember that? Do you remember when she snuggled in his head? And she was all like, I don't want you to talk about how you're doing well with other people. Essentially saying, I want you to get back together. And she wouldn't let go of his hand. You did all that knowing you had a second man coming? Yo, when he watches the show later and he sees how you were acting with him, what is he gonna think? I'm chopped liver? Holy shit. How could they have 2 exes in the house? Do they know? Do they know each other? Like, we don't know any of that. We don't know. I'm like, did they consent to this shit? So to wrap it all up, disrespectfully, what the fuck? People used to joke about we should have 2 exes on the show. It's not funny. Okay, I don't think it's funny. To the producer who approved this change, did you get consent from everybody to do this? Do they all know? Do they both know? I would imagine the newer ex would know about the older ex. Like, how is this gonna work? Does that mean Hyunji has to do 2 ex dates at the end of the show? Girl, I'm tired. Online, the reaction to this is honestly not very good. People are like, this is kind of weird. It's not fun. Why would they do this? Was Korea this liberal? Like, Korean netizens are saying that. I never wanted the 2 exes thing because I think it's too complicated and it also brings in consent issues. It's like, are you only telling the girl with the 2 exes that she's bringing 2 exes? Or are the 2 guys aware that another ex is going to come and they're okay with it? Okay, what's weirder about the 2 exes thing is that, so Hyunjae knew another guy, another man of hers was coming. She knows this, but she's whining to Baekhyun about wanting to reunite. That doesn't make any sense. And the worst part is Baekhyun is the older ex. So you don't care about the newer ex at all? What was he? What was your newer ex a rebound? So I guess we'll see what happens in episode 13. The good thing is next week they are doing 2 episodes a week from now on. So we will suffer less. I mean, I will suffer a little bit more with recapping, but I'll just try to cut out more of the stuff that I think is not important. My head hurts. Let's wrap this up. Okay, well, if you enjoyed this recap, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you think 2 exes is okay to do or not okay to do. And I will see you guys next week when I recap episode 13 and 14 and see how they resolve this shit. Goodbye. Bye, 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 bye. Bye.